But the reality is that I knew that franchise was going to end, basically, when Mark and Brian left, and Hitchy, and Bendis had sort of taken over the Avengers mansion in the regular universe, so, and I knocked on the door and he wouldn't open the door. So it basically left one place to go, and that was into the Ultimate Universe. And the good part about that was that I could really tell those stories without having, I mean, again, whenever anybody asks why do you work in the Ultimate Universe, it's that you can tell stories that they're not completely tied into everything. You know, I don't have to worry about the fact that, you know, what's her name? The woman who looks like a grasshopper. No, the married Mantis, who married the swordsman when he was a tree. I don't know how to do that. So I don't have to deal with it. And Brian has to deal with all that, which makes it even better. And then the other thing is that given the quality that Brian Hitch had created on that book, it left the challenge of who was going to draw that book and how we were going to be able to say to the audience, look, it's not going to be the same, but and it was Mark who first came up, Millard, who came up with the idea that we should sort of think of them like Bond films, and that for some people Sean Connery is the perfect guy, and for some people Pierce Brosnan is, and for some people Roger Moore is, and the reality is that some of that is generational, and some of that is just when you were exposed to it, but they're all Bond movies. And so we just wanted to come up with a different flavor, and when I managed to talk Joe Q into going after Joe Madureira, and he made it successful, then at that point, you know, we knew we had a home run team, and now with Chris Leitner coming on board, it's just going to be amazing. It really is. I've seen so much of the artwork. Everybody up at Marvel has too, and Joe is he's just kicking out all the doors. What the great part about it is that Madureira has been away all this time with his video game company that he created, and it's tremendously successful. I mean, there's games that you guys haven't seen yet, but it's a full-time job that he's doing up there. And so when I went to him, I just thought there was no way he was going to be able to do this, and he's actually he's made a way that he can actually still draw and still run this company. And so he's not doing it out of money, he's not doing it out of anything, he's really doing it out of ego. And he's so funny, because he says, you know, if Brian Hitch is the benchmark upon which artwork is now based, I just have to come in and raise the bar. So I'm just there going, okay, pal, you just go do whatever you want to do. So we're just having a great time and having a lot of fun, and I think that's what the book ought to be.
Yes. Now that you're back in Marvel, is there any chance of any more color books, like with the Spider-Man Blue?
That's first of all, those things fall into the Marvel Knights land, and so some of that has to do with this guy here and what he wants us to do. At the moment, Tim Sale is under contract. Every day I get up and I tear another page off the calendar until he gets out. He's doing time over in DC town. I heard anybody, like, it used to be a universe and then it's a nation. I'm waiting for it to be like the DC doorknob. Some was left, it got really small. I didn't understand.
I didn't say that.
Anyway, they're all my friends. Yes, I would love to work with Tim again. The plan was, when we left, to do Captain America White, and it was not something that we did. One of the reasons why I came back to Marvel was because I had made a promise to Joe to do 4 books at least, and when we packed up our bags and went across the street, rather than, you know, yelling and screaming or making a fuss or doing anything that somebody else might do, he just simply said, you know, when you're ready to come back, please come back. And that meant a lot to both of us. So I just got to wait till he gets out before we come back.
So when Tim's available again, there will be an Captain America White?
That is the plan.
Well, actually, I've been pushing Jeph to scrap Captain America White and do Kazar Flesh. I think it's a hit.
Yeah, everyone has pitched us all the funny colors. So,
So, you know, internally we call them the Spectrum books, because eventually they'll hit everything.
We just call them coloring books.
With the lead time on Ultimates 3 and the fact that you've already talked about Ultimates 4, is there any chance Ultimates 3 might ship bi-monthly or weekly? Get out quickly.
Why don't we wait for Ultimates 2 to finish?
I've really got another year. So.
The point of announcing that Ed McGuinness is doing Ultimates 4 was to give an idea of where he was going, since everybody obviously knew that he was leaving the DC mouse hole.
It's keep coming.
And to show people what we're going to do, and he had this idea that his two favorite characters in the world are a big green guy that's the strongest there is, and another guy with a hammer, and where else were we going to do that over the Ultimates? So one of the things we wanted to do was, because the space between Ultimates 1 and Ultimates 2 was large, and the space between Ultimates 2 and Ultimates 3 will be large. Well, 2 has to finish. And then what we wanted to be able to do was tell a story that would come right up on it. And so we basically just wanted to let you guys know as fans and who stayed with this book, and hopefully will stay with me as we continue, is that, once Joe finishes his arc, that Ed's arc will then start right after that.
There? Yep.
Two things. Could you repeat some of the questions that people were saying?
Oh, sure. Okay. Sorry about that.
And is there any chance of ever seeing at least a mini-series of Ultimate Thor?
Is there a chance of ever seeing a mini-series of Ultimate Thor? Maybe.
Well, I mean, if we had the right artist.
If we had the right artist, that is a possibility. I'm not saying that we have the right artist or that we're stealing the right artist or anything like that.
We need somebody who could do really, really good, powerful imagery that almost looks like it's painted, but we have no
But we have no plans.
I'd love to ask you what you're doing with Ultimate Beast, but you killed him. So instead, I'll ask this question, because I've been looking through previews and everything like that. Is it written on the wall that Tony's about to bite the dust? Because I haven't seen any Iron Man shots in 3 or 4.
Well, I don't know that anybody's seen anything of 3 or 4, so, but let's just say that by the end of Ultimates 2, the team will have some changes in it, and obviously when I come on, there'll be some other changes to it, and some of that may be because of the Grim Reaper, and some of that may be just because people made personal choices about the team and what happens to the team at the end of Ultimates 2. Oh, Ultimate Grim Reaper, yeah. Simon's brother, if we ever find Ultimate Wonder Man.
Doing the Ultimates in chunks seemed to really help out with incorporating the big events while not interrupting the story. Was that done intentionally or just a happy coincidence?
You're talking about the actual Ultimate events, like Ultimate War and Ultimate Nightmare, those kind of events?
Right, you can say that happened before Ultimates.
Yeah, no, yeah, we were absolutely doing those as separate miniseries so that it wouldn't affect the runs of the Ultimate books. Plus the fact that Ultimates was sort of off schedule by a little bit. So there was absolutely a strategy behind that. That said, it would be interesting if someday we did a Ultimate line crossover in which all the titles were sort of playing simultaneously with something. But who knows if we'll ever get there? But it would be fun.
Yeah, this question's for Quesada. What kind of a person is Steve Colbert, really?
What kind of a person is Steve Colbert? He actually really is very right-wing. No, he's not. I met him just briefly, and he came up to me. He said he was a huge Marvel fan. He was reading Civil War as well as other Marvel comics, and he basically said, before we went on the air, he's like, "You see the show?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "You understand the joke?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm an idiot." I said, "I'm one too," and it went off. And then, but while I was in the green room, again, one of his lead writers, who's also a huge comic fan, and actually confessed to me that during downtimes when nobody's watching, he's actually reading comics in the writing room, and told me about the stack of comics that he